Good morning to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for the 11th of August, 2015. Take a look at the sea surface temperature anomalies. I wanted to start with this chart as we begin our tour of the tropics today. Notice how warm the eastern and northern Pacific is as a whole. Yeah, we do have the El Nino here in the equatorial region, but even way up here in the subtropics, very warm water compared to the long-term average. And that's important because of what's going to be going on here in and around the Hawaiian Islands over the next few days with a hurricane, another one, out that way. This is what it looked like a month ago. Kind of interesting, the contrast. This is in July, and here it is now, July. Notice the Atlantic here, nice large area of colder than normal water temperatures, but that has filled in fairly substantially over the last month or so. Does that change the outlook for the hurricane season? Probably not, but it is interesting to see. But boy, that El Nino in the Pacific holding strong. Looking at the Atlantic Basin, nothing at all expected over the next 48 hours, and I think that's going to extend beyond that time easily. I mean, even looking at the 5-day outlook, might as well. Nothing over the next 5 days either, and probably nothing over the next 10 days. One of the things that we can look at, though, the visible satellite shot, tropical wave here interacting with the land masses of Central America. Another very weak tropical wave in here with a moisture surge trying to come in. But the atmosphere is very dry. Let me go back and show you here on a different perspective. That was a visible satellite shot. This is the water vapor imagery. And anything over here on the right-hand side of the scale, very nice and moist. The left-hand side, not so much. Look at all of this not so much that's sitting out here. Very dry air, sinking air, what we call subsidence, and that's really literally putting a cap on things in the Atlantic Basin. More moisture as you go farther to the west, but there's also a lot of upper level wind shear and no organized area to really take advantage of the warm water and the moisture that's available, and we don't see anything developing in the computer models anytime soon. In the eastern Pacific, we do have Hurricane Hilda headed towards Hawaii. Still a hurricane forecast to pass just over the big island of Hawaii as a tropical storm. I think it'll weaken below tropical storm strength before it gets there, but that won't really matter. That's more of just a naming issue. Is it a tropical storm? Is it a tropical depression? Because the biggest issue of all is going to be, with this system in particular, rainfall. You have some pretty deep convection still holding strong with Hilda. And this is going to move over the Hawaiian Islands over the next few days, even if the track itself is over the Big Island or south even, if I can get my mouse to work. You know, somewhere in this cone, if it were to move like that, the center I'm talking about, it matters little because you can just kind of draw a line here. If you imagine if it goes something like this, well, you got all this moisture, and it'll, fluctuate. It's not going to remain perfectly intact, but you are going to drag a lot of that moisture right over the Hawaiian Islands unless it were to go well to the north, which is probably not going to do. So the bottom line here, if you have interest in Hawaii, especially the Big Island itself, lots of rainfall headed your way, and I'm going to talk about it in more detail tomorrow as this gets closer and becomes more of a news item. Flooding from tropical cyclones is a big problem. The wind and the storm surge certainly gets the headlines, but just because Hilda is weakening and could likely be a weak tropical storm, wind and pressure-wise, the rainfall could be significant, and folks in Hawaii need to be ready for that. And I think they are. They know, sort of the way things are out in the Pacific there, especially in a warm El Nino type year like we're in, with that very warm Pacific compared to normal. You're going to bring in some of these anomalies, and those are tropical cyclones from time to time. So I'll talk about that in more depth tomorrow with some really nice graphics from the National Weather Service to help sort of paint the picture of what to expect in the Hawaiian Island region as Hilda approaches. All right, well, that's it from me for today. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com and, of course, Hurricane Pro in HD. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.